Good morning and welcome to English TV. My name is Morten, and today I have the pleasure of talking to my good friend Jos Steutelings from VIGC in Belgium. Jos, how are you this morning?
I'm fine. Thanks for having me, Morten. How are you?
I'm also good, but now this show is about you, my friend. So before we're going to talk about something called the Benelux Online Print Experience Event or something like that,
Event.
the BOPE. You are the CEO of VIGC, a very active organization, not only in the Benelux area, but also I think you're starting to be more and more known European-wide. So can you give a short introduction to what VIGC is?
My pleasure. VIGC stands for Flemish Innovation Center for Graphic Communication. So, as the name mentions, it's an innovation center in the graphic arts industry. We try to look at innovation through the hardware, the machines, technology, the workflow, software, also, of course, business models. And we have approximately 215 production companies that are an active member of VIGC and also 26 strategic partners. And we try to organize events, trainings, and we also do some consultancy to pass that innovation to our audience, our strategic partners, and our print production companies. So we have a very good line with all the stakeholders within the industry. And as you mentioned, we try to be innovative also in the events, the initiatives that we organize. That's our main goal to promote innovation in our great print sector and a great print industry.
Fantastic. I must say that the times I have been at your events, I'm always astonished about a few things. Actually, three things comes to mind, and I will give you credit for the first one first, of course, and that is like when you moderate your events. I think you are extremely well prepared. You know about the speaker, you know about the company, you know about the topic they're talking about, because sometimes you come to events where the moderator, like myself, is more like, oh, this is, I can't remember your name. Can you just please introduce yourself? No, I'm just kidding. But you are very, very detailed in a very, very positive way. And secondly, which is very much aligned with this one, is that the events I have participated in is that really well organized, really nice venues, and the programs are excellent. Only issue is that sometimes you have something in a language I don't understand, but that is another topic. And the last thing I just want to give you credit for, and I think everything aligns with each other, is also the fact that the graphics and the print and the design you have on all your material and your websites is magnificent. It's just really, really great. So I want to congratulate you on that, and I would like to say that to the people that don't know VIGC, even though it is a Flemish organization, I think you should reach out to yours and to also to the website. It is in English, most of it. So basically, take a deep dive and get to know yours and the organization. You mentioned the 26 strategic partners. Is that like vendors?
Yeah, that are vendors. Over the past years, we expand the exposure of those strategic partners or vendors, and it's still growing year over year. So it's a kind of it makes our business model next to the membership fees and the consultancy fees and some of the events, our two main events, people have to pay for that. So we have also always independent speakers at our events. So it's a kind of business model where the attendees have to pay a little amount of money, and the strategic partners or the vendors pay the rest, but they are not active involved on stage. That's our business model in this.
And the reason why I asked you for having this morning's interview is basically because you sent me an email last week about the upcoming BOPE event. For those who may not know it, I think that I mean, I can't remember how many times you've done it now, but the focus on the online printing society and especially since you come from the Benelux area. I mean, there's a lot of online printing taking place in the Benelux area, but still, I think there's a lot of room for exciting discussions about the future of the online printing scene. So, can you tell a little bit in details about what the idea with BOPE is?
Yes, this year we organized the BOPE event for the 5th time, so we have an anniversary edition.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. And BOPE is also the event that we do in English. So all the other events besides of our hackathon is in Dutch as our mother tongue. And for the first time in our history, we are crossing the Dutch border. So the first time that we are going to organize an event in abroad, in Gorinchem in the Netherlands, together with the Sign and Print Expo. The idea is that, I think every company needs to have his online print business model. But there are a lot of different ways to be involved in online print. And it also evolves year over year. If I look at the last decade, when I started at VIGC in 2014, the landscape of the online printers was much different than it is today. Mm-hmm. Today, almost every PSP is involved in online print, but not always with the same business model or at the same level. So what we want to do with the Benelux Online Print Event is to show technology, but also to show business models and nice case studies to inspire the audience, the PSP, to go further than the normal things that they do. There are a lot of new ways to involve with an online audience, for example, over mobile phones, but also the way you target your audience, B2C, B2B, mixed models. Maybe you want to work for a platform economy model. So there are a lot of angles that you can use to build up an online audience. And I think it's online print is something that comes together with physical interaction with your audience. And it's not an or model, it's an and model. You have to do it both. And it will strengthen its online print and physical print will make it better.
When you do the online event, the BOPE event, it's been, I think it's been nice that it's Bernd Zipper that is making the opening speech. I think almost every event, right?
Yeah. The first one I draw on my paper,
Yeah, and for those who don't know Bernd Zipper, I mean, probably everybody knows him, but he has the company Zipcon and Beyond Beyond Print, yeah. And I remember when I met him the first time, he's probably the most knowledgeable person in the global printing industry about that knows about not just the software, the hardware, but also the business model, and has in particular in Germany created I would say a very engaged community around online print by the big professional players, and often he also have that touch of what is going on and the next thing. So I think that you have chosen a keynote speaker that really can give the audience a fantastic understanding and overview of the current market. How important is it for an event like you to? I mean, you started in a smaller venue. Now you're becoming like bigger and more recognized. But when you got a guy like Bernd Zipper on board, was that something that was really nice for you guys?
Yeah, of course. I think you need not only case studies but also some figures, somebody who knows that part of the industry very well and very in depth. And when I started in 2014 as a consultant at VIGC, the former director pointed me out to the Online Print Symposium in Munich, and that's a really good source of information. Bernd knows what's happening not only in Germany and Austria and Switzerland, but also in Europe and the world. It's interesting to see how markets evolve in Germany and to see how we are related to them, because of course the Belgian and the Dutch market is much more smaller than the German market. And it's very important to have somebody on board in your program who set up the line and who tells what he thinks that is going to happen within the next 6 or 12 months. And
sometimes even longer. Sometimes, right? I mean,
yeah,
because the
even
perspective
longer.
of I remember when he was talking about will web to print solutions be like something that you just talk to, and will it be more visually orientated and all these kind of things. I would like to know a little bit more about the event. So let's move on a little bit to the next one, because the next speaker you have is also quite interesting. That is Tom Pierre from 4Piece. I think they are one of the main sponsors of the event. But the reason why I find them really interesting is because the first time I met them was actually the BOPE event, and I think that what is interesting about 4Piece is that it's, and correct me if I'm wrong, but when I saw them the first time, they were like implementing web to print solutions in mainly the Benelux area. And then I met Tom at Printing United, where they had a small booth, not even a computer. And I said, why are you here? Because if you are like selling software. And he said, no, we're not selling software. We are basically starting being focused on the implementations of it, because everybody can buy a piece of software, but to get it implemented and make it integrated into your business and into your technology in your company and everything like that. Is that something that you recognize a need for as well?
I think what Tom tries to say is that everybody can buy a piece of software, but you have to use it in the right way. And also, the people who are using the software, it's very important that you tell them why you use that piece of software and how it is integrated in the complete overall process of your company. And when we do also a lot of consultancy at VIGC, and you could think that if you enter a mid-size or a big company, that everybody has automation in order, and that is well organized within those companies. But we see that there is a lot of work to do there, and that mainly the main focus is on the individual departments and software, but they don't build the bridge of the complete process from the buying till the delivery of the print. So the integration of all those software components and how people have to work in the best way with those components in a workflow, in a process, we see, and that's also what Tom means, I think, that there is a lot of work to do, and you have to fine tune that mentality, maybe mindset within the company. More than just selling software, you have to sell a solution that works.
Yeah. And I don't know if that extends to that, but I was very pleased when I saw my other good friend Richard Askham also as a speaker at BOPE, because with his, I mean, he's not a technology guy. He is, I would say that Richard in many ways is kind of a inspirational marketeer, almost like a philosopher sometimes, and
Storyteller, maybe.
storyteller, yeah. And he's talking about the personalization, because that is like what he has been focusing on. He's a guy that was introducing the name Coca-Cola campaign in Europe, and I can see on your program that he is talking about personalized children's storybooks and their online revolution. I mean, just the words and the title of it sounds really interesting, and it sounds like something that extends a little bit to the photo book universe that we already know, kind of thing.
Yeah, he's involved in a lot of projects, and I think personalized children's storybooks is the latest. He also has a company called BOPE. He talked about that in the past, some years ago, to personalize footballs and rugby balls and things like that. So I think he is using his history and his knowledge in different ways in the industry, and I'm very curious about what he's going to talk about concerning children's storybooks. But I have some personal interaction with publishers that do children books in Belgium and in the Netherlands. So they always have a lot of stock and they always have a lot of inventory. So I think with personalization and printing on demand, you can do a lot of good things, not only for the look and feel of the product and the buyer, but also for the environment. So I think
100%.
that is something that is very interesting how he looks at it and what he's trying to do with his latest project.
But that is of course 100%, and that is great, and that is extremely much aligned with some of the mega trends of the industry that you basically see that books of one production is like dominating more and more. And I can see that one of your speakers is also Martin Ayer, yeah, from Cloudprint, my good friend, who also spoke at the non-event, which you saw, of course, right?
Yeah.
But it's kind of bridging the, you have a lot of different publishers, and you have customers, and they want to bridge the books of one to whatever source you have as close as possible. The technology gives us more and more opportunities, and I take that with his presentation at the BOPE event, it kind of bridges those things. Because we are running a little bit out of time, I just also want to touch, because we have two more speakers that are also interesting, and you have Roland Kepler from Online Printers. Online Printers is, of course, one of Europe's biggest online printers, and I think it's a scoop that you got Online Printers to give a presentation at BOPE, to be honest, because I mean, with the acquisition of Solopress in the UK, and with the acquisition of Lasertryk in the Nordic, and Online Printers parent hunger for more business, seems that a very good place to learn from, right?
Yeah, I think that's also the reason why I asked Roland Kepler, the CEO, that he would talk about international expansion, because of course they started in Germany, but as you mentioned, they are expanding into Europe. And I'm really curious what their business model is, how they do that, how they manage that from within those plants in Germany, and what his vision is on international expansion for printers in Europe. So I'm really looking forward to Roland, who knows a lot about the printing, the online print market, but also he's a really nice guy. I met at the Online Print Symposium in Munich. So really happy to have him on board.
It's funny, as a little curl to what you just mentioned. I did an interview with Dr. Michael Fries when he was the CEO of Online Printers.
Yeah.
And it was kind of interesting, because at that point, I don't know if they actually still do it or they did it, but he spoke about selling online printers products also on the East Coast of the US. And I remember my first question was like, are you sourcing print in the US to serve your customers? And the answer at that time, and that shows a little bit about the competitiveness that is also still in the printing industry. He said, no, we are so fast, and our shipping rates to the US are so low that we are still competitive to the US printers, even sending the goods across the pond to customers in the US. And I think that it also, when we in Europe talk about online printing, it's not just about the quality, it's not just about the business models, it's also about the logistics of making sure that you can get deliverables fast, relatively inexpensive, and everything in the value chain aligned with. And I think that is super great to have that perspective. The last speaker that you have presented right now is a guy that I don't know. It's Sander, about e-commerce in China. Tell me a little bit about that.
The idea of every VIGC event is that we have always one speaker that isn't related to the printing industry.
So it is more by e-commerce in general terms.
So he's going to speak about e-commerce in general, because I think that we can learn a lot from other sectors, from other industries, and especially from the East, because we are tended to look at the West, to the US, what's happening there, but we have less attention to the East, what's happening to China, because we think they're only copycats. And that's not true. I follow China for some while. I attend some lectures on China, and what you see is that e-commerce evolves very quick in those Asian markets, and that the business models and the case studies and the ideas they have are very interesting. So at least I want to tell the audience that they have to look what happens in the East, and I think Ed is a good person. He can tell a lot about e-commerce in China because he also lived for quite some while in Shanghai in China. So I think he will give some really nice insights in how e-commerce evolves in China, and maybe we can learn some things from that.
And it's funny you mentioned that because you're right that we have maybe in the past seen a little bit too much to the US for inspiration. I think that sometimes we even miss to get inspiration from our own continent because I think there are so many things that goes on here that are really interesting. But if you look at how China has developed solutions that have challenged both from a privacy perspective, but also from a technology perspective. You look at Alibaba and AliExpress, two major online sources today. If you look at the TikTok revolution, also Chinese software, really fantastic to see how they have been able to capture the entire world. And then, of course, in Europe and the US, we discussed the political perspectives of this. But I think that you're right that, of course, you can always take a look at and get inspiration for how they produce things, how they roll out things, and hopefully to the better for all of us, right?
Yeah. Right.
Fantastic. When is the BOPE event that we forgot to talk about?
No problem. It's the 15th of March. It will take place in Gochem. It's not far from Antwerp. So when you come from abroad, you can fly to Brussels or to Amsterdam. Really easy to access. We start at 10 o'clock and the last speaker will end at 2:30. So there is room to visit also the Sign and Print Expo because they have an evening opening on the 15th of March. So it can be a really nice combination visiting BOPE and the expo, and of course to network with Belgian and Dutch printers and vendors. We have at the end of the BOPE event Belgian beer cafe. So if you want to make a smooth entrance to the expo, you can drink a couple of beers. So it will be a really nice event and network event also.
And I will extend on that because I was at the Sign Print Expo last year for the first time ever in the Netherlands. And that was the first one after the COVID in the Netherlands, but it was a really great event. It was an event where you felt that like it was almost like a time pocket because it was like nice booths, nice designs, and it was like we forgot there was a pandemic, right? So the only thing I was disappointed with was there were only 7 people in the audience when I was speaking, but that is maybe because I have nothing good to say. I don't know. Jos, I'm pretty sure that there will be a lot of people there. Final question here: can people that are not members of VIGC also register and participate?
Of course, everybody can register. We have one fee. It's 149 the entrance for the full program, and then you also get the access to the expo. So it's not that expensive. Food, everything is included. So I hope to see you and the audience of Inkish TV at the event. You're more than welcome.
Thank you very much, Jos. And I will definitely look into my calendar, see if we can get that, because I think we have actually already agreed that we will cover the Print Expo in Netherlands. So, of course, I will be there.
Okay,
take care and have a great day. And I know you're driving to the Netherlands right now, so have a safe trip and talk to you soon.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.